acting. I'm going to the acting part of your life because you were so young, and I remember you mentioning that acting helped you be able to express your feelings, your deep emotions, and through characters. But you were like, how was that for you?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a long story. I'm sure we'll tell it another time. But I did come into acting at 16 years old, midway through high school. And it was a challenge kind of transitioning from sports to performing arts, acting and all of that. But what acting really did for me, it was expression. It was expression of emotion. It was just expression of all these different aspects of my own personality that I didn't get to express in my everyday life, or I didn't feel like I could. Because again, I was so shelled up because I was afraid to expose my real identity or just different facets of my identity to whoever. And I guess that's just the pressure of growing up. But that's what acting afforded me in a lot of ways. And I didn't do like any theater in high school.
No.
All of this, I did like short films and on-camera stuff. But I mean, it was great. It was great for just a kid who was like screaming. It's like my identity is like my true self was like banging on the door of my insides, just like screaming at me, or my brain, let me out. You know, and so that's what acting afforded me.
Was that like a vulnerable moment for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was not
like you're going to be seen in the ways that you haven't been seen before.
Yes. Yeah. It was. I remember distinctly. There was a film that I did with my cousin, which got me into acting in the first place. It was a short film, and he won an award. They flew us out to a screening in Indianapolis.
In tuxedos.
Yeah, we walked the red carpet. It was great. It was
great.
Like
when his mom is sharing the story because she gives all the details.
She'll give all the details. I'll give all the details another time. But seeing, I don't think anybody among my peers saw the film actually, but what they did see was a little pamphlet that I got. It was like a what do you call it? It was a program. It was a program, like when you get to the place, they just show like whatever's being shown. Yeah. So they saw a picture of me, and the idea that I was acting, the idea that I was doing this, like it was cool to a lot of people. Like, oh wow, you're in a film. Wow, they flew you out there. Blah blah blah. They thought I was gonna like go to Hollywood like the next week. Oh. Maybe I led them to believe that. Cause I was like, I'm done with this place. I'm gonna go do bigger and better.
Like
things.
Any other 16-year-old.
Yeah. No, it was just the idea that, you know, Alex is doing something other than, you know, what I had previously done. Yeah. But, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think my friends, and nor, you know, nobody's ever thinking as harshly about you as you think they are. No. And I'm sure that was the same case for me in high school. Yeah. Like, they were not paying so close attention to everything that I was doing that it would be like, you know, like a notification on the phone, like, oh, Alex is acting now.
But that's, you know, that's how as a teenager we centered. We just,
that's how you perceive things.
You perceive everything is just about you, and that's what happens. I feel like to a lot of teenagers.
I agree. So it was. It was an interesting experience. I think I just psyched myself out more than anything. And a lot of the insecurity was just based out of fear.
It's understandable though. I feel like I understand what you're portraying, what you're saying. It's, you know, the fear, the anxiety. It's more of also like if I show myself, am I enough? It's that fear in a way. That's where the anxiety comes from. Right. And sometimes we cover it too much that we end up losing our true self.
That's true.
And the best person we can be is being ourselves.
The only person you can be is be yourself.
Yeah, that's the only person. But when you're a teenager, you don't know that.
But it carries into adulthood.
It does carry on to adulthood, but I feel like that was a breakthrough for you to have the opportunity of acting. And so when you went into your adult life, maybe that was like something that helped you out when you were an adult. How was it?
When I came into adulthood, and I started college, naturally there's just a lot more freedom.
Yeah.
And you use that time generally to figure out who you are in a new space that's not constantly being supervised by parents or just like the pressure of your childhood area.
Yeah.
So I mean, I went to school away from or out of my childhood hometown, and acting followed me. So through that, and figuring out who I am and being more comfortable expressing who I am, acting kind of mirrored that as well. So it really peaked in like the first phase of my acting career really peaked in college. That's where I really kind of learned the craft and being comfortable doing just weird actor stuff, you know, weird acting exercises.
Giving yourself permission to be weird.
Exactly, and giving myself permission. That's the biggest part, is because everybody in the acting world, when you do acting exercises, it's weird, and it's supposed to be weird. It's supposed to like free you up and and put you in a different space. Where you can do anything, you can be anybody. That's kind of what acting is, right? And it's safe. The acting world, it's safe to be that in a lot of ways. I mean, I say theater in a lot of ways, college theater. I'm not sure about the industry, it's a little shaky, but theater, very safe space to be strange and just kind of trust your castmates, your whoever, right? So I embrace that. I love that.
That's amazing.
But again, I was not fully, I was not doing theater like that. I was still doing short films. But it was because of my theater like training and the theater people I was training with. Then it gave me permission to be a better actor and a better person, because I was like, oh yeah, these people can be weird, I can be weird. And so I carried that into my everyday life, right? So I just became naturally more comfortable with myself.
I like that. When you think of life, what is it for you? What is it like for you?
My big thing, life, is love. That's kind of a vague answer, but I try, emphasis on try, to be as loving and understanding. I want to love people in all sorts of different ways, and another way that I grew, and it's just coming to my head, is showing love in different ways, to my family, to my friends, to anybody I was dating. Or it was a process, and it was difficult to consciously take those steps, because
to show them.
I was never someone who was just
felt it, but you weren't able to show it.
I was like timid, like baby steps at a time. You know what I mean? And I think people say it's a lot harder to push forward than it is to pull back. They say that in acting as well. So like when you go out for an audition or you just do a scene, with an exercise or something, it's really easy to just go blah, 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 blah. And then the director may be like, okay, pull it back a little bit and then we'll see what happens. On acting, it's hard. It's hard to be like, and then the director's like, okay, give me more. It's hard because it's scary, right? And so that was the same thing with love, or with expressing just positivity towards people. It was baby steps to get to, I guess, where I am today, where I can way more easily just express how I feel about people, feelings of gratitude, feelings of whatever.
You're saying about expressing love, positivity, how you feel about your friends, family, or the people you were dating, and that brings me to a lot of men, they are not allowed to feel that way and to express that. So what would you say about that? Like, when you feel a lot of emotions, do you take time and cry or share it to your friend? Like, those are things we as women, I go through something, I call my friends, I cry, we hug each other.
I love this conversation.
And we're healing right there. How is it for you?
So to answer your first question, what I feel about that, it's a problem that men can or just refuse to. Like there's so many social constructs, and it goes back to what we perceive men to be, right? A lot of times we put men into these very unfair cages, to where they're supposed to be the brutes, the
man up.
Oh God, I hate that phrase, man up, because it usually pertains to you're more
being
effeminate.
less than what?
It's not even effeminate.
It's not even effeminate. You're just like
you're using your emotions.
Yeah.
Right, but people perceive it to be effeminate, or you're
a
being
negative
girly.
thing.
Or any time someone says not to be a woman, like, stop being a girl. Stop being that's offensive.
What's the problem about being a girl?
Right.
I'm a girl and I'm proud.
Yeah, and we talked to Pardeep about this. He said this beautifully. But to paraphrase, he's like, if men were more in touch with their feminine sides, the world would be a better place.
Absolutely, yeah.
Men would be better people.
That was in our first episode of season 2 of the podcast.
And I co-sign that 100% because I was always an emotional kid, not like erratically so.
Yeah.
But I felt my stuff. Like anything that happened to me.
I feel like everyone feels it.
But some people repress it.
Yeah.
And I was not someone who would repress it. I would cry. I would process for like hours with the help of music.
That's me.
With
the help of music.
A movie, a video game. Yeah, I loved feeling my emotions.
Yeah.
And I'm naturally pretty empathetic.
Yes.
So when I was younger, specifically, I have gotten a little more cynical in my my old age.
Yes.
But
you were.
Generally speaking, yeah, I've always felt my emotions, and I would say some point through college, there was something that happened where I was really encouraged just to feel, and maybe it was a response to me not feeling or expressing my emotions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved feeling okay to express and to cry.
Like it's important.
It's unhealthy to keep your stuff in.
Keep your stuff because they stay there, and at some point they boil
bubble,
up, and then
you
you just mess
themselves.
up everyone else around you.
Yeah, and they manifest themselves in different ways. Where you may act out. You may act out. In something entirely different. You may lash out at like a coworker, and it's like, where did that come from? And then there are negative consequences with that.
I used to be, it's funny because when I was growing up, I used to be that person that whatever I was going through, for me in my head, it was like, nobody cares about what I'm going through, so it's for me to keep. And I would just keep all my emotions. I would be so angry for days. And I won't talk to nobody.
Yeah.
No, not even my mom. And my mom is a very emotional person. She wants to put everything at the table. And I'm like, and then 30 minutes later, she's smiling. And I'm like, I'm still feeling it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I was kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I would hold on to stuff.
All right, Alex, my last question is, what would be your message to the people who are going through mental health issues, or who have friends who are going through it, who have family members? We all know one person or someone somewhere who's going through mental health. What would be the message?
I would stress patience and open yourself up to listen. Listening is one of the most underrated abilities that we have as humans. We can listen to people and their issues. And there's a lot going on, like you had just said, a lot of unknown things that we can't really predict, a lot of things that are out of our control. So the easiest and first thing I would say is just to listen. If someone has an issue, and people do have issues, I can guarantee you, ask anybody living
under the sky.
Yeah, right now they will have issues that they can talk about. And if they decide to share those issues with you, just listen. Don't even offer advice at first. Just listen.
Yeah.
Don't interject and be like, oh, you can actually fix it like this, because that shuts some people off.
I think.
But just listen. Just lend your ear and your heart. So that would be my first piece of advice. My second would be understand what you can control. There's a lot of things right now that are outside of our control, and the only thing that we can control is how we respond and react to these things.
Absolutely.
And it's a hard task for a lot of people, but just realize that you can only control so many things in your life, and the more you remember that, I think the less amount of stress that you'll feel. You follow what you believe, and you try your best to stay safe and healthy, and mentally and physically, and then you just keep on moving.
All right. So yeah, they always say there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And so we'll just keep fighting, as just Alex said, do what you can control, stay safe, stay healthy, and also keep faith and hope.
Yeah. And
this is gonna end.
Yeah, it's people need hope. People need faith in things that they don't see. I don't know. I mean, this is really a battle for I don't know, like the human spirit, the human will.
The human will. Absolutely.
When there's an enemy, an unseen enemy. Unseen being that you don't see an end in sight, you don't see a way to specifically defeat it. You only have tactics that may help and then eventually lead to a victory, but there's no like magic bullet, right?
No.
So at that point, you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. You gotta just hope to beat whatever, to beat this. And hope helps pandemic.
For you to be alive when whatever you're going through ends. Yeah, stay strong, everyone. Thank you so much, Alex, for giving us your time and sharing your wisdom. I know you read a lot, so there will be a time you'll be talking about your readings. Please. Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
We'll see you soon. Bye.